A Borrowed Bunny by Fran Hodgkins. Katya was accustomed to the animals that came and went at her house. While different animals from the local rescue agency waited for new homes, Katya's mom and dad took care of them. That meant at any time, Katya could find something unexpected waiting for her after school. Once there had been a gigantic macaw in the laundry room. Oftentimes, she would find a cardboard box full of kittens in the living room. Once there had even been a boa constrictor in the bathtub, but Mavis the snake had been with them only for an overnight. Katya wasn't a big fan of snakes. Right now, the Ryans were fostering a litter of kittens that had been with them for 2 months. When the kittens first arrived, Katya and her parents had fed them with an eyedropper, and now they were old enough to run around the house. Katya liked having the animals around, but she knew the rules. These were foster animals, not forever pets. Eventually, each animal would leave the Ryans and go with someone else to its real forever home. "I'm here!" Katya stepped carefully through the door, checking for kittens before she put her foot down. "No worries, kiddo. The kittens were adopted," Dad said as he stirred his coffee. "I took them back to the rescue center this morning." "Aw," Katya said. She would miss them, but it was going to be nice to once again walk through the house without fear of a tragic kitten accident. Then Katya noticed the look on her father's face, and she knew what that look meant. "Oh, please, not another Mavis," she exclaimed. "Dad, you know how snakes freak me out." Close read. Summarize. Highlight the details that tell you about the animals the Ryan family has taken care of. "Our new foster animal isn't a snake, my dear," Dad said. "Come see." She followed her father into the living room, which, to tell the truth, was really more of an animal room. Where other families had only bookshelves and sofas and chairs, the Ryans also had various wire crates, cages, and pens. Right now, Katya's mom was standing next to one of those pens, cutting a hole in a cardboard box. Katya peered into the pen at a beautiful brown rabbit. "Her name is Pip," Mom said, "and she came to the center this morning while your dad was delivering the kittens. The usual rabbit foster person is out of town, so he volunteered us." She placed the cardboard box in a corner of the pen. "Okay," Katya thought. "A rabbit will be different, but not completely different." The rabbit had her own ideas. Close read. Analyze plot elements. Underline the sentence that tells the story's problem. The next morning was Saturday, so when a ray of light streaked in through the blinds, Katya snuggled down deep under the covers. Then she heard a crash. Without thinking twice, she jumped out of bed and raced down the stairs to find that the wire pen where Pip had been stood empty. Pip was on the nearby coffee table, looking over the edge at the broken bowl that once held decorative pine cones. As Katya glared at Pip, the rabbit leaped off the table and started nibbling on one of the cones. "No!" Katya said. As Katya stepped toward her, Pip twitched her nose, stomped her foot, and raced away. Stepping carefully around pieces of the broken bowl, Katya went after the running rabbit. Pip skidded a little bit on the tile of the kitchen floor, but managed to execute a sharp right turn that sent her racing around the kitchen island. Katya skidded after Pip, and twice they sped around the island until Pip spied the doorway to the front hall. In a heartbeat, she was gone. "Katya, honey, what's going on?" Mom's voice floated down from upstairs. "Rabbit's out!" Katya cried, chasing Pip through the front hall and into the dining room. Pip stopped there, under the table, and Katya dropped to her hands and knees. "Come on, bunny," she said gently. She'd pursued enough rambunctious kittens to know that she had to keep her voice soft, soothing, and calm. Pip's ears perked up. Her nose twitched. "Come on, Pip," Katya said. She reached through the forest of chair legs for the rabbit. Close read. Analyze plot elements. Highlight details that develop the conflict. Bang! The front door crashed open. Dad was back from his morning run. At the sound, Pip jumped to her feet and bolted past Katya, heading for the front hall and the open door. "What?" Dad began. "Rabbit," Katya said. As the front door slammed shut just inches from her face, Pip whirled around and dashed back into the dining room. Katya threw herself toward the brown blur. Her hands closed around the rabbit as Katya rolled onto her back, with Pip held firmly but gently in her hands. The rabbit wriggled, trying to get away, but without success. "You're nothing like a cat," Katya declared. Pip gave her a look that said, "You've won round one." Close read. Wriggled. Moved by twisting. "I don't think that rabbit likes me so much," Katya said. While Dad fed the other animals, she swept the pieces of broken bowl and crumbling pine cones from the hardwood floor. Mom came in with one of Katya's old baby blankets and secured it with a fistful of clothespins over the top of Pip's wire pen. "It's not exactly a force field, but it should at least keep her in her quarters," Mom said. She turned to Katya and asked, "Why do you think she doesn't like you?" Katya sighed. "I'm not sure, really. There's just something about the way she looks at me." Dad lifted the corner of Pip's roof blanket and set a bowl of greens on the floor of her pen. The rabbit waited until he had reattached the blanket before she hopped over to the mixed lettuce. "She's just different," he said. "You've grown up around cats and birds. You know how to read them. A rabbit? Well, we'll all just have to get to know her a little better." Close read. Summarize. Highlight details about Katya's previous experience with foster animals. Quarters. Living space. A place to stay. As if in response, Pip stomped her hind leg, a sign of annoyance, and returned to her cardboard box. Again, Katya sighed. Pip wasn't a boa constrictor, true enough, she thought, but she was no kitten either. After the blanket was in place, Pip stayed inside the cardboard box, stubbornly refusing to come out, especially while Katya was in the room. "It's as if she's annoyed with me personally," Katya thought. "Why do you think she's acting that way?" Katya asked Mom one morning, after Pip had once again ignored her best all-out efforts to make friends. "Animals are like people, Katya. Not all of them are going to like you." "But animals love me, Mom," Katya said. "You've seen it yourself. Remember the kittens, Fizzle and Fink?" "Yes, you did an amazing job with those two," her mom said with a laugh. "They wouldn't tolerate anyone but you, but after a month, you transformed them into perfectly loving little pets." Sadly, Katya looked at the pen and the cardboard box inside it, wondering why Pip wouldn't come out. "It's not like I'm the one who put up the blanket," Katya said. "You caught her, though," Mom said. "Do you think I hurt her pride?" Katya said. "Could be," Mom replied. "Now go get ready. Your bus will be here any minute." Close read. Analyze plot elements. Underline an important event in the rising action. Tolerate. Allow, accept, put up with. At the start of each week, Mrs. Webster always asked who had something to share about their weekend. There wasn't much big news. One kid had gone to a nearby amusement park, and a girl in the back had taken a trip with her grandparents in their big RV. Mrs. Webster turned to Katya. "And how about you, Katya? Any new foster critters?" "We got a rabbit," Katya said flatly. At that, half the room started to coo. "Aw, a bunny! I love bunnies. They're so cute." "Well, she's just a borrowed bunny," Katya said. "We only have her for a little while until the rescue agency finds her a permanent home." "Ooh, is she snuggly? Is she soft?" The cooing continued. Remembering the feel of Pip's wriggling body in her hands, Katya had to admit, yes, she's soft all right. But she didn't comment on the snuggly business. At lunchtime, Katya's friend Max plopped down across the table. My aunt has a rabbit, he said, and she likes bananas. Your aunt likes bananas? No, goofball, her rabbit likes bananas. Fresh bananas, but you've got to peel them, and those dried up banana chips. Maybe you should see if your borrowed bunny likes bananas. Close read. Summarize. Underline sentences that imply what Katya thinks of Pip. Snuggly. Cuddly, liking to be held in an affectionate way. After school, Katya told Dad what Max had said. I thought rabbits only liked vegetables, carrots and lettuce and celery, he said. I think we've got a couple of bananas in the kitchen. Why don't you give it a try? Katya peeled a banana and broke off a small piece. She had her doubts, but she went to the pen and held the bit of banana through the wire grate anyway. After a moment, Pip poked her head out of the cardboard box, her nose twitching madly at the scent of the fruit. Come on, it's all right, Katya whispered. With an irritated stomp, Pip ducked back into her cardboard box. Katya dropped the piece of banana and said, Fine, you win. Maybe you'll decide you want it later. Nobody in the family saw her do it, but Pip eventually ate the banana. Every afternoon from then on, Katya put another bit of banana in the pen. And just like clockwork, every morning it was gone. Katya started thinking of it as a game they played, she and this rabbit that didn't like her. Still, she would sit and talk to Pip's cardboard box every morning, telling Pip about the things she did with her friends, about the books she was reading, and about what happened at school. One afternoon, while she was telling Pip about a funny thing that had happened in gym class, the rabbit suddenly nosed her way out of the cardboard box. When Pip hopped over to the banana and started eating, Katya wanted to jump up and down with excitement, but she made herself stay calm. She knew that if she reacted as if something unusual was happening, in any way, really, Pip would stop eating for sure. Although she tingled with joy, Katya casually finished the gym class story, then started talking about a new book she had gotten from the library. You'd love it, Pip, she said in her smoothest voice. It has all kinds of animals in it, but I'm only a few chapters in, so don't know if there's a rabbit just yet. Pip finished the banana and gazed at Katya. Slowly, she turned and hopped back toward the box. Katya's heart sank. But then, Pip turned and looked at her steadily, then back at the box, and then back to Katya. What is it, Pip? Katya asked. Is there something wrong with your box? Close read. Summarize. Underline details that show the conflict between what Katya wants to do and what she does. Tingled. Felt excitement. Felt a prickling sensation. Not wanting to frighten Pip, Katya rose slowly and reached for the first clothespin. Cautious, but not scared, Pip watched carefully. As she removed the rest of the pins, Katya was so excited that her hands were shaking. Next came the blanket. Finally, Pip was trusting her. Katya knew she had to be extremely careful. With a leap, Pip dove for the box. Katya caught her breath. She'd been so close. She gathered up the blanket to put it back when she realized that Pip was staring at her, with her head stuck through the flaps of the box. Do you want to show me something? Katya dropped the blanket and reached into the pen. For an instant, she worried that Pip was going to nip her, but the rabbit ducked back inside. Katya lifted the flaps and peered inside, where she noticed 3 small shapes huddled together in a nest made of hay and fur. Oh, Pip, you're a mom, Katya exclaimed. Congratulations, they're beautiful. Each bunny was a tiny version of Pip, with miniature ears and eyelids squeezed tightly shut. Pip stood on her hind legs. "You must be very proud of your new family," Katya said. Close read. Analyze plot elements. Highlight the climax or turning point of the story. Katya tiptoed ever so gingerly over the pen wall, gently sat down next to Pip, and slowly moved the box so she could see the baby rabbits inside. One was brown, just like Pip. The others were mostly white, with brown spots. Moving slowly and carefully, Katya lifted the closest bunny and cradled it in her hand. Pip twitched her nose at Katya's fingers, and, after deciding her baby was safe, hopped over to the other two. The baby bunny in Katya's hand was warm and soft, even though it didn't yet have fur or even a fluffy tail. Katya put the baby back in the nest and stroked the other two. Pip licked the baby Katya had held and tucked it back in between its siblings. "Thank you for showing me," Katya whispered. "I'll put your house back now." She gently replaced the cardboard box over the little family. Then she climbed out of Pip's pen, reattached the roof blanket, and stepped carefully out of the room. Katya shook herself, hardly believing what had just happened. Then she peered back into the living room where all was quiet. She pictured Pip in the box, the good mama, keeping her baby bunnies warm. Close read. Vocabulary in context. Highlight context clues that help you determine the meaning of gingerly in paragraph 61. What do you think the word means? Smiling, Katya walked outside where her parents were drinking tea at the patio table. Mom said, "Why the big grin, sunshine? Did something just happen?" Katya pulled up a chair. "Well, it looks like we don't have a borrowed bunny anymore," she said. Her parents exchanged quick, concerned glances, the way parents often do. "Is something wrong with Pip?" Dad asked cautiously. Katya shook her head. "No, she's just fine. Actually, she's better than fine. She's had babies. We've got borrowed bunnies. 4 of them, to be exact." Mom put down her tea. "That's fantastic, Katya. Pip let you see them?" Nodding, she said, "I think she's finally decided to trust me." Then a thought struck her. "I'm only sorry that they're just borrowed. Fosters, not forevers." "Well," Dad said, "maybe we can change that rule this time. After all, you've worked awfully hard to win Pip's trust. It would be a shame to let her down." Katya beamed, thinking, forever, not Fosters. Close read. Analyze plot elements. Underline the sentence that states the resolution of the conflict.